Hi, this is Bishop Craig in Lansing, and this is take one for the week of the 14th of November. Peace be with you. I'm spending Monday and Tuesday working through the 239 emails I received while I was away last week. So if you're in need of an urgent answer, you may want to call the office and leave a phone message, because I'm sure I'll get to that one quicker. But I am steadily working through email. Do that today and tomorrow. Today's Monday. Wednesday is staff meeting, and then the Disabilities Task Force meets in the afternoon. And then Wednesday evening, Pastor Roseanne and I will attend via Zoom the council meeting at Messiah Constantine for the exit interview of Pastor Chris Laughlin, and as we work with the congregation as they move ahead to the next chapter of their ministry. Then on Thursday, the deans meet in the morning, Conference of Bishops meets in the afternoon. I'm very disappointed, but I totally understand. On Sunday, I was supposed to be at St. Peter in Unionville to install Pastor Jeff Bond as pastor, but our good friend Uncle COVID came to visit, so there is no worship this week, so we will need to reschedule that installation. I think Uncle COVID coming to visit is going to be a reality through the winter, so we need to have contingency plans, which, a couple weeks off of worship to quarantine is probably the safest thing to do. I read this week that the Delta variant, the Delta wave, the Delta surge, whatever you want to call it, has not come to the Great Lakes region yet, or it is just beginning now. And we can expect a spike after the holidays. So it's probably good. It is good. It's wise that we have a contingency plan in place so we can turn to the plan and not blame an individual or a group. So that's really important. This Sunday is the Sunday of the reign of Christ, or as I learned it as a kid, Christ the King. And the gospel reading is Jesus before Pilate in John's Gospel. Reading through John 18:33 to 37, I'm amazed this time at how we kind of sanitized that confrontation. As a church, we have wanted to say that when Jesus says, his kingdom is not of this world, he's talking about heaven, and that means, separation of church and state, and the church has no reason to be involved in politics, and that's a really good argument. It's just not true. Jesus went head to head with Pilate, the representative of the Roman Empire, and we have a confrontation between two world views and two power structures going on at this very moment. Just as when Christ the King festival was established, there was a confrontation between the alliance in World War II, the Germans and the Italians and the Japanese and the Allies, and the Pope, I think it was Pope Paul, my Catholic friends will correct me, established the festival to stand up to that oppression, also to stand up to the Reformation. While the Protestants were all celebrating Reformation Day, the Roman Catholics said, yeah, but we've got Christ the King Day. So some real serious power structures going on. What Jesus says is, my kingdom is not of this world. And I think what he's saying, based on what comes next, is his kingdom is true. It is of the truth. All who follow the truth hear his voice. And he is standing up to kingdoms or powers that are based on lies. And that's pretty real for us, because there's a lot of lying or relative truth going on in our culture today. We hear it, when people say, I'm going to share my truth, as if my truth, I have mine and you have yours, and they could be polar opposites, but they're both true. Or I think it was in the beginning of the Trump administration when Kellyanne Conway talked about alternative facts, as if there's facts for one set of truth and facts for another set of truth. And I guess there is, because we all have our perspective. But here we have a real confrontational truth. Which one wins? There's the power of the Roman Empire, which is force, it's oppression, it's self-preservation, it's exploitation of the masses for the sake of the few. And then there is Jesus, who, if we read on in chapter 19, in the rest of 18 and into 19, Pilate says he finds no case against him. Jesus is beaten and dressed up with a crown of thorns and a purple robe and marched out in humiliation. And he won't say anything to Pilate to get himself off the hook. And as the chief priests and the police yell, "We have no king but Caesar, but the emperor," I'm going back to, "We shall have no other gods, that God is our king," all that kind of stuff. "We have no other king but Caesar," they yell. Jesus goes off in John's gospel powerfully, but willingly, to suffer death on the cross. Sacrifice rather than preservation. Caring for the masses rather than exploiting them. We really have two opposing worldviews. And on Christ the King Sunday, the reign of Christ Sunday, we proclaim that the reign of Christ is real and it's true. And then people who hear our proclamation look to the way we live as Christians and as a church. And are we willing to follow in the way of Jesus? Are we following in the way of Jesus? Or are we all about survival, exploitation of other people for our own purposes? Or are we surrendering, giving away, and following Jesus to the cross, trusting that out of that kind of death, God brings new life? Christ the King, if you go with John, is not a glorious celebration. It's a real celebration. It's a truthful celebration. And reality and truth, I believe, are what we need this Christ the King Sunday. So I will pray for those of you who are preaching for your proclamation, and I will pray for those who are listening for their reception. And I ask you to join me in praying for the people in St. Peter and Unionville and for Pastor Jeff Bond as they are not able to gather because of COVID. And I'm sure they are not the only congregation that is being visited by Uncle COVID this weekend. So pray for them as well. I'm Bishop Craig. This is Take One. Peace of Christ be with you always. Take care.